Master Your Mindset Radio, episode 21.
Welcome to Master Your Mindset Radio, the show where we empower you to conquer limiting beliefs and transform your world with your gifting and purpose. Now for your host, Elizabeth Nader.
Hey guys, welcome back. Today's subject is moving from intention to action. I want to give you some hints and hopefully some little helpful pointers to get you to move from intention to action. This is something that I'm constantly doing, so I think about it a lot. And for me, I guess it's sort of second nature. And I realized this past week that not everyone really knows how to do that or thinks about the fact that they need to do that. So let's talk about what that means. First of all, intention. Intention is something that gets batted around quite a bit. You will hear people say, I'm going to set an intention. I'm going to set an intention that I want something to happen in my life, or I want to feel a certain way. And that is this idea that you put something out there that you want to attract, that you focus on with your thoughts on something. And that's good and that's important because we talk about, what do we focus on and what do we aim to achieve? And the actual definition of intention is a thing intended, an aim, or a plan. So, putting out an intention, having an intention, feeling an intention, these are all things where, ideas where you're trying to attract something into your life or you're trying to commit yourself to an end goal or an aim. But it is not an action word. It really is not. And I don't take away from the need to set intentions or the power of setting intentions. But I see so many people that focus so much on what intention am I going to set and thinking that that's enough or stopping there and never taking action. If you just set an intention, it's not going to happen. You can't just wish something into your life. And again, I'm not taking intentions lightly, but always setting intentions and never adding to that intention action is just going to cause frustration in your life. And this has to do with so many different areas. It has to do with our hopes and our dreams, like the big things that we think about and dream about. It also has to do with just the everyday things we need to accomplish. We're all extremely busy. I get that so much. I'm at a stage in my life where there is never an empty to-do list. I never reach the end of my list of what I need to be doing. I have to make decisions on when to slow down, when to take a break, when to do other things. But I honestly could go from eyes open to eyes shut, just constantly taking care of things, because that's just the season I'm in with children, with businesses, with everything. And so, we don't lack for anything to do, that's for sure. But a lot of times in areas where we're frustrated and we want change, we will set an intention and hope that something will change or put an idea out there that we want it to be different. But we need to back it up with action. And that's what I want to encourage you to do. I want you to take inventory of the areas of your life. And the way that I do it is I make like a pie chart, and I take the top categories, if you will, in my life that right now are on the top of my mind. And you can organize that however you want. It could be family. You could make a category for kids, a category just for your marriage, category for your business, for your job, education, whatever it is. And you just make up this pie chart of the categories you choose. Usually people do maybe 8 of them, 6 of them. You don't want 100 of them. But go ahead and do that. And what you do is you decide what is your level of satisfaction in each of those areas, in each slice of that pie. What is your level of satisfaction? For example, let's take your career. Let's say you're about 80% satisfied. And then you look at maybe your family life. Maybe you're 50% satisfied. And then maybe another piece of the pie is your health. And maybe you're 10% satisfied, whatever that is. And then what you do is you look at the delta, the difference between your satisfaction level and, how do I get from 10% to 100%? How do I get from 80% to 100%? And then you set intentions. You set intentions on what you would like to see change in those areas of your life. And that's important because it's powerful for us to focus our thoughts on an outcome. It's powerful for us to put down in writing or just speak out loud or constantly meditate on results that we want. So let's say in your health, you decide I'm going to drink more water, I'm going to work out more, I'm going to stop eating sugar. You set forth these intentions. And then you have to take action. And that's the part that we tend not to do. That's the part where, this time of the year, the New Year's resolutions fall away, right? Because a New Year's resolution is an intention on steroids. It's intention, but often doesn't have action. So you set those intentions in each area of your life and you say, what can I do to improve my satisfaction with that area of my life? And then you put an action plan together. Now, what's interesting about that exercise is that it doesn't feel as overwhelming because there's so much that you want to do, but you recognize through doing that exercise, there's some areas of your life that you're doing pretty okay with. I mean, if you put finances as a category and you say, you know what, I'm like 90% happy with my finances, then that last 10%, should you choose to want to get to full satisfaction, if you will, is a lot less to do. It's a smaller intention maybe with less action. And so it lightens the load in that area of your life. And then it forces you to sort of focus on the areas where you're not as satisfied. And the dissatisfaction we have in our life and those feelings of we're not where we want to be are the things that tend to drag us down. So identifying them and putting forth intentions and then an action plan to change them and improve them is such a great exercise to go through. So I recommend that you do it. Let me review it again what it is. Some people call it like a daily practice wheel. You can call it a circle of action and intentions, whatever you want to call it, but it's taking like a pie, like a circle, and dividing it into slices, into categories, maybe 6, maybe 8 at the most of your life right now, and labeling them. So it could be finance, it could be health, it could be family, marriage, kids, education, business, career, spirituality. You can come up with anything, friends, your social life, and then giving yourself a satisfaction level. I'm 20% satisfied in this area. I'm 80% satisfied in this area. And then in taking that assessment of yourself, you decide, what is in that delta between 20% and full satisfaction? What can I do to work towards full satisfaction? You don't always reach full satisfaction in life, right? But what can I do to work towards it? And you set intentions and you write down what results you'd like to see, and then you put together an action plan. So that is the key of today's message, is how do we move from intention to action? Why do so many intentions fall short? Why do people stop at intentions? Why do they set them and then never do anything about it and yet feel as though they failed and yet feel as though life's not fair or whatever, feel disappointed? Well, the problem is they don't first go through that exercise of identifying realistic intentions, of identifying a group of intentions that's meaningful, that can actually bring something into your life that you need right now. Sometimes when we are unhappy or overwhelmed, we tend to think about, well, I wish my life were this way. But we don't really look at it in a pragmatic way. And we don't say, all right, which section of my life is better than the other for me right now? And how do I get to a higher level of satisfaction? So first we need to be pragmatic and we need to be honest with ourselves. And we go through an exercise where we set intentions that are meaningful, realistic. I guess I have to say that word because, we don't chase fantasies. It's not that you don't dream big or reach for big things, because I'm always pushing myself. I always move the goal line. But you don't want to chase fantasies because that's exhausting and you're chasing your tail. So there is a difference between a fantasy and a big goal. And that's not for discussion today, but there's definitely a difference. So, we set realistic intentions, or at least intentions that stretch us in a way that we think we can reach. And then we put together an action plan. And that's what most people are missing. Then we have to start to take the steps to make the changes so that we can see that intention come to pass. Now, there are some things that we don't do. There are some things that God moves on our behalf. There are things that come to us because we're focused on that intention, because, it's like the red Ferrari story. Remember, we keep thinking about it and focusing on it, and all of a sudden it's in our life. There's not a magic there. It's just the fact that we're focused on it, and that in doing so, we tend to attract or notice those things. So there is an aspect of it, a spiritual aspect of it, where God steps in and helps us with those intentions because we put them out there. But the good majority of it is action, is us taking a step. And really that action involves us involving other people in our lives. That action needs to make us accountable. I believe that if we simply promise ourselves that we're going to take a certain action in order to make an intention come to pass in our life, if we only promise that to ourselves and we don't speak that to an accountability partner, we don't take on a coach to help us get there, we don't hire a personal trainer to help us get in shape, we don't hire a money manager to help us get our finances straight. If we tend not to involve other people, then we are very readily, very easy for us to let ourselves down. If we don't bring in someone else as an accountability partner, it's much easier for us to say no to ourselves. It's much easier for us just to go ahead and skip that workout because no one's going to notice anyway. But if you hire a personal trainer, or if you have a workout buddy, now all of a sudden someone else is holding you accountable, and now you have to cancel on someone else. Now it's bigger than you. And this is a simple but powerful thing. So look at the intentions, put the action plan next to it, and with each action step, assign an accountability partner. What do I mean by that? Well, I gave you some examples already, but every single action step that you take, you should either tell someone you trust or who's involved in that area of your life that you intend to do that thing and that you need their help, or at least you need them to ask you about it and hold you accountable, or you go and you find the people to help you reach that goal. None of us can do everything on our own. It could be as simple as, if I want a cleaner house, then I have to set an intention that, I'm going to budget in housework help. I'm going to budget in a cleaner, because there's no way I can reach that intention knowing what I know about how busy I am. This is just an example. So I'm going to hire somebody who does that to help me get there. And that's how then I'm going to reach that higher level of satisfaction with the cleanliness of my house. Now, there are other things I can do. I can ask other people in my home to do things, but I bring in people to help me, and I put my money where my intentions are. That's another thing that we need to do. If you want to get to a really aggressive point physically with your health and with your body, you hire a personal trainer, you hire a nutritionist, you hire people who do this kind of stuff for a living, because now you're putting your money next to the action plan and next to the intention. Not only that, you're bringing in someone who's going to hold you accountable. If it comes to anything in your life that's bigger than your ability, anything in your life that you're not gifted with naturally, you need to bring people in to help hold you accountable and help you walk through your action plan. You can't do it on your own. So setting an intention and not having action associated with it, right there is a recipe for disaster. Setting an intention, putting an action plan next to it, but not attaching accountability to it, is another recipe for failure, because you simply won't make it happen. All it takes is to get overwhelmed, frustrated, and you will be the first person you let down. It's much easier to say no to ourselves than it is to say no to anyone else. So if you take those steps and you break up each area of your life into categories and you decide how you want to see them improve. First of all, the overwhelming feelings tend to go away, because you say, you know what, these are discrete goals that I can reach. These are discrete things that I can do in these different categories of my life. Then you put together your action plan and you actually start to do it. It's not going to change unless you act. An intention is just that. It's an intended thing. It's an aim or it's a plan. In fact, intention is it's a mental state. It's a mental state. It's an idea that in my mind, I plan to do something, or I plan for something to come into my life. It has nothing to do with action whatsoever. So we can set intentions all day long, but we need to do our part. We need to then take a step. We need to then do what is necessary to bring that result into our life. There's also prayer and also relying spiritually on God to help you get there. Most definitely, I wouldn't do anything without that. But I know that I'm responsible for doing whatever whatever it is I'm supposed to do to bring that to pass in my life. And then there's the idea that I cannot do it alone, and the idea that two are much better than one. However that looks in your life, every single action plan should have somehow, in some way, whether it's someone you hire, someone that you ask to hold you accountable, someone you tell your action steps to, somebody that you meet with and review things with, somebody you get advice from. I don't care what it is, but you sort of go public, if you will, to that person with your action plan. So that once you've done that, you suddenly feel now like you really need to do the work. Now, you may change the intention when you start to take the action. You may alter the intention when you start to take the action. And that's a feedback loop that's really, really great. Because once we start to take action, we start to realize that, wait, maybe that intention wasn't exactly what I wanted. I want a different result now based on what I've seen. Or we add to it, or whatever. But I can tell you, if you don't involve other people, you will say no to yourself. So let's take our intentions and move them into action. Now, there are intentions in my mind and dreams that I have that aren't ready for action right now. They're still intentions, and they still feel like these things that are bubbling up inside of me, but everything has a season. And those things I'm not ready for. And that's why I go through and do the categories and do the little, the slices of the pie, because there are other things, and I make them that's my big wish list, right? That's a separate list. There are other things that aren't ready right now. This is not the time, but I think about them. I have intentions about them. And if I really look at those big, big dreams, they tend to map down to things I'm doing today in a smaller way. But I'm not focused on them in terms of action. I'm allowing them to just be intentions, and I will know when it's time to take action. So that's another category, and you've got to be able to discern between what should be on the big dream list and what should be intentions today that require actions now. And get your accountability partners. And listen, this is why I do what I do in terms of mindset. This is why I'm a coach, because a lot of people have limiting beliefs and toxic thoughts. They don't understand their purpose, and they're not going to get there without someone. They're not going to get there without help. They're not going to get there unless someone holds them accountable, unless someone gives them a roadmap and says, you need to do this work. It's not so much that the work that needs to be done isn't something they couldn't have figured out, but they won't do it on their own. You just tend not to do these kind of things on your own, because the moment you hit something difficult, the moment that you start to feel pain, the moment you start to feel pressure, it's like working out, right? When I start to lift that weight and my muscle starts to fail, if that trainer isn't standing next to me, I'm probably going to put the weight down and move on. But she pushes me, so I do those last 3 reps. And those last 3 reps are the ones that actually make all the difference in the outcome. Those are the ones where the muscle actually starts to build. So it's not the first part that I can do on my own. It's the last part where I need to be pushed and I need help. And that's why I really encourage you to invest in your mindset. And to that end, guys, we have Mindset Reset 2020. The first one is coming up on Saturday, March 28th. The date has been booked. It's going to be at the Wyndham Hotel in Florham Park, New Jersey, which is northern New Jersey. It's an all-day event from roughly 9 to 5, and it's going to be intense and incredible and exclusive. I'm only opening it to 20 people, only 20 people for this one. We are not going to go larger than that, because we want it to be an amazing one-on-one experience with small groups as well, and accountability partners. And we want you to have just incredible results. So look for more information. I'm going to get a registration page up eventually. I will tell you more about what's going to happen that day. But if you want to set an intention to join, set the intention now. And then you have to take action. I will give you plenty of more information on the Facebook group, so make sure you join that so you don't miss anything. We'll be talking about that. I will give you an overview of what we're going to do. I can tell you it will be life-changing. So set an intention to get rid of those toxic thoughts and the things that are holding you back. Hey, in each category of your life and those intentions that you set, those goals you want to achieve, there's almost always something that holds you back, almost always a limiting belief you need to deal with. So the information that I give you and the exercises that we do and the things that you learn are literally game changers to help you achieve all of those goals and see those results in your life. And it gives you a method and a way to break through that you haven't before. And best thing of all, you're held accountable. Best thing of all is that you're coming out of the shadows and saying, I need to achieve this goal. What can I do? Help me. And when we do that, when we start to lean on others and learn from others, that's when we start to break through and see great results in our life. So look for that information coming out, but go ahead, mark your calendars. And it's all day on Saturday, March 28th. And if you're not in Northern New Jersey, come in and see us. It's a great reason to come out here. We're not far from New York, so you can make a weekend out of it. But you'll have more information soon, guys. Make sure you listen for that. If you can, register to receive the podcast, subscribe, I should say, to receive the podcast every week. I come out every Tuesday morning at 7 a.m. And you'll hear at the end of this broadcast the Facebook group information. And you can always go to my website, elizabethnader.com, and you'll find everything there. Social media links, a link to the book, Master Your Mindset, The Master's Way, on Amazon, which if you're attending on March 28th, I recommend you read the book first, because that will give you a leg up. That will give you a ton of information to allow you to more readily use what I give you on the 28th and put things in action and in place. So I will be talking to you all about that very, very soon. Thanks for joining me, guys. Go ahead and start to put those intentions into action, and you will start to see the changes that you need. God bless. Talk to you soon.
Thank you for listening to Master Your Mindset Radio. Before you go, if you want to be part of a free online community of like-minded individuals for support, resources, and inspiration as you conquer your limiting beliefs and pursue your purpose, go to elizabethnader.com/community. That's elizabethnader.com/community, or search for Master Your Mindset Academy private group on Facebook. Looking forward to seeing you online.